Professor Shlomo Avineri, our guest of honor, Dr. Saladin Ibrahim, our colleagues, the participants of the international workshop, ladies and gentlemen. Our meeting here this evening is the opening event of an international workshop that will begin its deliberations tomorrow morning under the title, From Thawrat 1919 to the Arab Spring, a Century of Egyptian History Reconsidered. Participating with us in the workshop are scholars who specialize in modern Egypt, arriving from universities in various parts of the world. Let me first of all extend to them, in the name of Tel Aviv University, a very warm welcome. I was waiting for that. This workshop is an initiative of the Egypt Forum at Tel Aviv University, which was founded 2 years ago. The forum brings together academics from Israel's major universities who specialize in the study of Egypt. In each meeting, new research findings are presented and discussed. Today's international workshop can be regarded as an extension, perhaps even a fruition, of the forum's activities. The convening of the workshop was naturally inspired by the dramatic developments in Egypt in the framework of what used to be called the Arab Spring. The rebellion at Tahrir Square on January 2011 caught most observers and experts on contemporary Egypt by surprise. This uprising raised many issues, among them the disturbing question, why was it such a surprise? Is our understanding of Egyptian realities deficient? Do we need to change the paradigms normally used for interpreting contemporary Egypt? These dilemmas drove us to go back in history. There did exist in Egypt other uprisings in the last 100 years. There was the Thawra of 1919 against the British, which launched the Egyptian nationalist movement. There was the coup of 1952 against the monarchy, which developed into a comprehensive revolution. Could a re-examination of those events shed light on those of 2011? The participants of the workshop intend to ponder these and related questions with one purpose in mind: to understand Egypt better. Napoleon once said that in his experience, quote, Egypt was the most important country. In the regional context, this may be true for Israel as well, especially if we keep in mind that the histories of these two neighboring peoples have been interwoven for 3 millennia. Let me invite now Professor Uzi Rabi, who is actually the host of this gathering, to deliver his introductory remarks. Professor Rabi, as everybody in this country knows from his numerous public lectures and media commentaries, is the head of the Dayan Center for Middle Eastern Studies. Under his directorship, the activities of the center have expanded to many new fields. In the Department of Middle Eastern History, he is known as a brilliant lecturer, and he appears as such on the rector's list. He published books on Iran, on Oman, on Saudi Arabia, on the Yemen, and his most recent book deals with the Middle East in the shadow of the Arab Spring and carries the title Back to the Future. Professor Rabi, bevakasha.
Thank you, Shimon. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is a great honor to be here this evening and to open up what we're going to have here, a 2-day international workshop which is going to deal with the political changes in Egypt throughout the century. This is, as I said before the opening session, what lies ahead is a very fruitful and I hope thought-provoking international workshop. I would like first to welcome all of our friends coming from all around the globe, so many fine and distinguished scholars who are going actually to share their knowledge with us. I would like to thank also the organizing committee, Professor Eli Podeh, Dr. Ephraim Barak, but let me note in particular the two people who have been heading this significant venture, Professor Shimon Shamir and Dr. Mira Tzoreff. Thank you so much. In addition, I would like to offer my sincere gratitude and thanks to our two distinguished speakers this evening, who I think need no production. The first of which is Professor Emirati, actually Hebrew University, Shlomo Avineri, who used to be also the former Director General of the Foreign Ministry. And the distinguished sociologist, Professor Saladin Ibrahim, who has kindly agreed to take part in our symposium, and we are honored to have him today. Thank you. An integral part of the mission of the Moshe Dayan Center is to encourage and to shape the scholarly and public discourse on issues relating to the Middle East. Egypt has for so many years been the bellwether of both Arab political and cultural life. And its analysis, or the analysis of Egypt, provides an insight not only to the political changes inside and developments in the country, but throughout the Arab world at large. It is in this spirit that I do hope that this two-day conference will continue on this path, discussing the political changes and developments in Egypt through the prisms of Egypt history, society, and culture. It seems so important a gathering that the Egyptian press, and I was amazed by that, in kind of an a priori in-depth examination of the workshop that hasn't been actually taken, carried out yet, came up with kind of a well-detailed report of the participants. I guess that Saladin Ibrahim would really like actually to see what was written there. Some good things about you too. So we hope that this conference will provide, as I said before, kind of a venue for a thorough discussion about these pressing questions about Egypt, and that this discussion will continue outside the confines of Tel Aviv University and the Moshe Dayan Center. Finally, I would like to thank the staff of the Moshe Dayan Center for their help in organizing the conference, especially Ms. Joyce van de Bilt, Ms. Dana Verona, and Ms. Efrat Schulman Arad, and I wish you all an enjoyable and thought-provoking workshop, an enjoyable evening. Thank you so much.
Dr. Mira Tzoreff is the founder of the Egypt Forum and the principal organizer of the international workshop. She's a senior lecturer at the Department of Middle Eastern and African Studies and a senior researcher at the Moshe Dayan Center. Her areas of research are the socio-cultural history of Egypt in the modern era, focusing on issues of women and youth. She finished recently a book entitled May Ziadeh, a female intellectual on border lines. I'm inviting Mira to address us.
Good evening. Honorable keynote speakers, Professor Shlomo Avineri, Dr. Saladin Ibrahim, dear colleagues from abroad and from Israel, participants of our international workshop, colleagues from the Moshe Dayan Center and from the Department of Middle East and African History, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to open this evening the international workshop, which will deal with almost 100 years of Egyptian history from 1919 to 2011. For me personally, this workshop is a climax of Egypt Forum's academic activities, which started, as Professor Shamir mentioned, 2 years ago. I admit that historians ought to deal only with past events. However, since somebody invented the weird term contemporary history, we allow ourselves to deal with current events in a historical perspective too, especially if Arab Spring Revolution in particular are concerned. These dramatic events, for most of us, also unexpected, arose the question whether our research toolbox is still relevant, or should we re-examine it, put out some old tools, put in new ones? Are there groups in Egyptian society that were considered less significant but actually deserve more attention? Are there new sources that we should include in our research in order to better understand the spirit of time? These are only few questions that we dealt with during the meetings of Egypt Forum, and we will certainly continue to deal with during the 2 days of our workshop. We gathered here because of our deep attraction to Egyptian history, to its society, and rich culture. I personally feel that through almost 3 decades of dealing with Egyptian sociocultural history, Hub Masr is not only deeply implanted in my heart, but I adopted at least part of what Ahmed Lutfi Said, the Egyptian philosopher and ideologist, termed al-Shakhsiyya al-Misriya, the Egyptian personality. So in one way or another, I'm a little bit Egyptianized. I wish all of us an interesting and enjoyable evening, and to the participants of the workshop, fruitful discussions during the coming 2 days. Thank you.